if I am homophobic and I'm getting cancelled because I've shared my views about being homophobic, and then I get cancelled, does it really take away the fact that I'm homophobic? Or does it shut me down to say I'm powerless now? I cannot share this publicly.
I mean, that's why I was asking you, was this a law created before or after the internet?
It was created before.
You've just stepped into An Empty Street, a podcast where we casually engage in difficult conversations about relationships, wealth, and health. We are just three curious gentlemen who ask questions almost about everything, and our aim is to find answers from others and within ourselves. We sit down every week to explore unaltered conversations. So let's walk the talk together, and welcome to the Empty Street Podcast.
In 3, 2, 1.
We're rolling.
Welcome to the Empty Street Podcast.
Another Tuesday, another day. Welcome.
Yeah, guys.
Of course, it's another day. It's another day. Last week was another Tuesday. This week is a new Tuesday, guys.
We back.
New Tuesday, new issues.
Another conversation to unpack.
Another Tuesday.
We have the postman.
Hello.
Shaun.
In the house, man.
Yeah, we have Chris back again in the episode.
Sanboran, guys, for those that remember me, hello. For those that don't, please go back to those episodes. Watch them all. Subscribe, you will know who I am. You will know who I am.
Then we have Shaun, man.
The Shaun, man.
Oh, yeah.
Just give us an elevator pitch, Shaun.
Yeah.
Who are you, dog?
Shaun, man. Shaun, all the way from Mamelodi.
Yeah?
But currently, I'm relocated to Nelspruit, under, a company, and I'm a graphic designer there. And funny enough, the person who hooked me up with the job is one of your guests. Her name is Mary, which means kind of I needed to be here, around this vicinity. It feels like the universe wanted me here. Small world. So the universe wanted me here. And funny enough, I don't even know Mary like that personally. So
You know what happened? You know what happened?
Yeah,
as this kid saying.
Yeah.
Before, with the time we were shooting with Mary, this guy was behind the camera.
You lie.
He was behind the scenes. So yeah, small world, man. Otherwise, Jenks, I think it's an honor having you, Jenks, and I think
it's an honor being here. Actually, it's a big thing because dude, what you guys are doing is something positive, man.
Very big.
Huge. I feel like it's gonna be big someday. You guys will look back now and be like, yo, dog, we didn't think of us being here, because I believe what you guys are doing is something that is positive to the chance and whatever, your opinion as chance, my opinions as my chance and everything like that. It's kind of positive, man. Your outlook to the world and all that.
That's exactly what I felt as well the first time I was on the show, I really felt despite the fact Yoguchi, the guys really made me feel welcome. I mean, I'm a very open person as well, but the fact Yoguchi, this information is actually created to help people out there, I mean, Joe, we as South Africans and as human beings, we go through a lot, and I feel like a lot of things that are discussed in this show, a lot of solutions that are being put forth in this show are definitely helping our viewers out there. And yeah, man, keep on subscribing, keep on referring, and spreading the word out there that Empty Streets is actually out here to discuss
like and subscribe
about these issues that we're going through. And the gentlemen are actually doing a very good job at creating initiative and actual awareness about very important issues. So
that we're kind of scared to look at,
Because I feel like at the end of the day, sometimes it's conversations we have behind closed doors. It might be with one or two gents over
only in your mind
or in your head. And you think about these things, but you never have them openly, and actually hear what other people think about those kind of ideas or conversations, And then you realize that, this is actually a topic that is relative to someone else. Someone else can relate to the same situation you're explaining, but because you don't have these conversations openly, you don't know that until you put yourself out there, and then you're like, oh, okay, it's actually a big world out there, but it's small.
Yeah,
because of our experiences, it makes it small.
It makes it really tiny.
So
Now I'm humbled, gents. Like all I can say is that I'm humbled. I'm humbled. Like I didn't look at hearing it from other people like Tina as these people who are creating this platform. It's like we have this picture in our mind where it's like this week we putting out another episode. This week we're putting out another episode. And it's like, what are we talking about next week? What are we talking about the other week? And we don't look at the bigger picture. So we don't look at how this affects other people. And what you're saying, gents, I'm humbled.
Yeah,
it
man.
affects.
Trust me.
It
Like, I
affects.
believe this will be something because, like, more and more people are gonna come to this. They're gonna come. Trust me. Like, when they like engage, like hear the type of engagement we have, they'll kind of go there and be like, yeah, man, this is the place I need to be. This is where the real world is.
Yeah.
Per se, you know what I'm saying?
So I guess it's safe to say we have friends of the show.
Yeah, no, I know. Some of us, we are even marking the register.
Yeah, the
So,
workers
gents,
of the show.
like this week for me has been a week where I've been thinking about a lot of things and just reflecting on what's happening on social media. And of course, Nati, we've been like trying to put our mark on social media, and it's not an easy thing, you know? But just as I've been observing, I came across an experiment that was made. So in this experiment, it was done by a guy named what's the guy's name? I forgot the guy's name. Yeah, I think it's Ash or something. Ash. Ash. I think it's Ash. And what the guy did is he took 5 candidates for his experiment. But the twist now is on those 5 candidates, only one guy was the subject of the experiment. So what he did is the experiment was simple. It was just about lines. He drew a line in the board, and then he had other boards on the side, which there were 3 lines. So it's like he drew this line and then had other 3 lines on the side. And each of these people had to say which line is exactly the same length and size as this one. And the guys that are in the experiment, like the 4 guys, knew that they had to pick the wrong answer each and every single time to hear or to see what the 5th guy would say, which the 5th guy is the subject of the experiment. So he asked those guys, which line is of these 3 lines, which line is equal or the same as this line? And all these guys, all the 4 guys were like, it's line number 3. Whereas it's line number, it's line number 2. Whereas it's supposed to be line number 1, right? And then they all said the wrong answer. And then when it got to that guy at the end, he also said it's that number, which is number 2, line number 2, which is the wrong answer. Though he sees that it's the wrong answer, and the right answer is line number 1, which is exactly the same size and length as the other line. So he did that repeatedly, and the guy kept on picking the line that is wrong, but he kept on picking it because the majority of the guys were saying it's the right answer. So he didn't want to feel judged. He didn't want to be standing out or saying, I felt like that was an interesting experiment. And then he did a second phase of that experiment where he said, okay, you guys are gonna say this is the answer. You're gonna say the answer out loud, and then you're gonna write it down. Surprisingly, the answer that he was saying out, which is the answer that everyone else was saying, which is the wrong answer, was not what he actually wrote down. Yeah. So to show Guti, he was just conforming with the crowd. And I feel like in our society, we experience that a lot. We say things because everyone else is saying them, to fit in, which I understand, because I think as human beings, fitting into a certain crowd or being part of a certain group it gives you meaning. That's why we have churches, that's why we have groups, that's why we have that's why we have cults, that's why we have tribes. It's for you to fit in, and that's where you actually get meaning. Yeah, one. But there are some things that when you look at them, it's like, I'm in this group because everyone else is saying this is right, or is this the morally right thing to do, or the right group to follow? For instance, as I was saying with Bengpege, even like on social media, what's happening, popular on social media right now is the cancel culture. So I'm like, people are participating in this cancel culture thing, but is it really? Yeah, without understanding it, but because majority is canceling people, just canceling, cancel. Yeah, one. But is it really doing the job? Because for instance, if we're gonna cancel someone for, say, being a pedophile or being homophobic, we cancel them because they are homophobic. We cancel them because they are a pedophile. It feels good, right? Because we are teaching them a lesson that you shouldn't be doing this, or you shouldn't be believing this, supposedly. Yeah, one. But is it doing the job? When we cancel a person, is it really taking away his or her homophobia? Or is it taking away his or her
public impact?
Basically, it's taking away your voice in a way.
Public impact.
You're taking away my voice to speak.
But
like my honest opinions when it comes to like certain things, topics, or whatever. So that's the whole thing about cancel culture.
Okay, and before we proceed with this conversation, I just want to say something. If ever, like the examples I've made are very sensitive examples,
Yeah.
and if ever someone gets triggered, they may please refer to the disclaimer at the beginning of this podcast, so that they get what we are talking about.
And we are sorry, the aim is not to make you feel bad, but we are just trying to identify really relevant issues
and to learn as well,
within our society, because there are certain things that we find ourselves afraid to express simply because of how people will take them. But then now, the failure to express such opinions would sort of result in the lack of solving certain social issues. So that's what we're trying to say. Guti, we are not here to assault people. We're not here to belittle you, but we actually trying to understand as to how certain people think, and how we also take what you're projecting to us.
So,
how I actually get affected by what he said.
Yes.
Basically that.
Like, I'm gonna try and oppose what you say.
Okay, that's interesting.
I'm gonna try and oppose why you think the whole cancel culture thing and its impact. Right? Is it about shutting down this person's public impact, or what they beliefs are, whether it's homophobia or pedophilia or whatever the case is, right? So what if this whole narrative or this whole movement of cancel culture it serves a bigger picture, in a sense, Uruti? Like, if I had to cancel you, for instance, and you had a reach of 2 million, 3 million people, and you were saying things I really don't like, and I have my own following, right? I'm going to use my following to try and shut you down, right? So what if it might not even be about you, right? but you are the reason why I'm having now this discussion. So I then go on a cancel culture movement and I'm like, nah, SK is talking all this crap. Let's shut him down, cancel him.
Yeah.
But what if the intention is not just to shut you down, but to teach a lesson to anyone else that might think or try of repeating your same actions and then nip it in the bud before it actually gets to where you are at, where now you are being cancelled. So you get that traffic light has 3 lights, right?
Yeah.
You have green, orange, and red. So you get to turn back when it's still
It's not
orange.
orange. It's not orange. It's amber.
Yeah, amber. Whatever color it is. Sunrise. So you get to turn back while it is still amber, as I was being corrected, right? So you get to live to see another day.
Yeah.
Everybody else that did not get cancelled gets to live to see another day.
So we shutting.
But the example was made using you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. So that's my opposition to maybe why the cancel culture.
So are we shutting down the option of freedom of speech?
Section
That's a very good
16,
question. That's a
point
very
number
good
1
question.
of the South African
Because-
Constitution. Everyone has a right to freedom of speech.
So are we shutting down that thing?
was that before or after the internet?
Yeah.
That was before.
No, it was.
What do you mean by
No,
before?
Oh,
then
that's
the
before.
and
Ah,
then
I
Now,
see
the
here's my perception. Nah? Here's my perception when it comes to this cancel culture thing. Yeah, it's gonna teach people lessons that, okay, it's not right to say this publicly. If I, for instance, if I have a platform, like a broader platform where I can have a huge impact with my views, right? But now let's get to the core of things. For instance, I'm gonna make an example with being homophobic.
Yeah.
If I am homophobic and I'm getting cancelled because I've shared my views about being homophobic, and then I get cancelled, does it really take away the fact that I'm homophobic? Or does it shut me down to say I'm powerless now? I cannot share this publicly.
I mean, that's why I was asking you, was this a law created before or after the internet?
It was created before, obviously.
Exactly. So now look at how the internet has impacted society. Now understand. That means our laws have to now
Be redefined.
Yeah, they have to be readjusted and amended to now, because I mean, if it's just us in a society, it's us 5, and all we say impacts just us 5, then it doesn't matter though. But if you have a following of 5 million and you saying what you saying to a whole 5 million community,
So it's like you're fueling
a
whole
we
thing.
understand.
You're starting
Now
a whole narrative.
That's a whole movement.
Yeah.
So it was are you saying that the main objective of the cancel culture is to shut down the people who have a huge following or few like a huge number of eyes and ears that are actually following
To
and
a certain
listening to
extent,
you,
yes. To a certain
not to look at you as an individual so that you can understand. It's like
what
to
you
shut
did
you
wrong,
down.
What you did wrong. To a
Because for
certain
me,
extent,
it looks like if ever you are a group of the people that are gonna be canceling someone, it kind of feels like to me that you don't have power.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like you because what happens is, if you've observed properly, you become a victim that someone has said something, and then after being the victim, you become the hero, which is now you take
Back
the
your
power.
Take back your power, yeah.
So it's like you're powerless. Someone has said something that offends you or kind of doesn't sit well with you. That's you being a victim. And now you embark on the journey of now
Reclaiming your power.
claiming your power in a way that, okay, let's cancel this person because they said this and that. And then you got your power right now. And then you're becoming the hero. Yeah, we've cancelled SK because he said that. And now SK can't say whatever he wants to say Sure, we understand the social media and the message spreading more than before.
Yeah.
We understand that. But now, if ever we were cancelling SK because we pedophile or we homophobic, after starting canceller,
What then?
is he gonna be less of a pedophile or less of a homophobic?
That's
You know,
true. Because like you can never. I think.
What
like,
was the main reason
thank
of the
you.
hustle culture?
if I may,
Because if it doesn't help, so my apologies. If it doesn't help you as the person who started the whole thing, then it's somewhat redundant. Could like, why would you even cancel that person? Because you can also start a whole movement of individuals that have share your
That
whole
cancels the
story.
cancel culture.
yeah,
Yeah.
that cancels the
Yeah,
cancel
thank
culture,
you.
yeah.
So it throws a whole. It's like what Shaun was saying. Like you
Because
trying
now,
to
if you're gonna
discard all these
cancel me
people,
for
and
what
then
I
you've grown a
feel
whole
and how I view
niche of
things,
people.
if you cancel me for that, now I'm gonna have more hate for you. That you've cancelled me, you've ruined my life.
Thank you.
Because once you get
Now
cancelled,
you're dedicated.
career gone, life gone, your relations
Bread
gone.
and butter.
Yeah. So it's like we are now in a society where we don't accept that people can make mistakes or we can say things that we didn't think
about,
through.
yeah.
Ukuthi zoma-affecta njani omunye umuntu. We take away that human thing. Ukuthi we can actually make mistakes. We are people, and we take away now the fact that we have to be teaching each other. But now I'm gonna punish you for
think-
saying that
I
or
think
for
look-
doing
look-
that.
Look at who cancel culture impacts the most. Does it impact you?
Right now, no.
How many followers do you have?
Right now, no.
How many people do you impact on your social life?
I wouldn't know, but it's less people,
Less,
obviously.
right?
Yeah.
Now take a public figure. How many? For instance, I'm just gonna put a random number, maybe 3 million or whatever. You know, average 3 million. That's your public impact socially.
Yeah.
Who would get it? You guys have
So those people
you
don't have their own-
you share
own
the same
thoughts.
values, share the same beliefs. You part of the same cult, let's say. Now, share everything that's the same, but your following or your social impact is different. You have way less followers than Chris does. Now, who do you think is gonna get cancelled between the two of you guys?
Of course. The people has more followers.
So then,
But now, I think it was, I mean, I understand. Like the moment you made that point, I understood that. But now, I think it was, is
not-
it a
it's not
temporary thing?
rehabilitating.
It's a temporary thing.
yeah, it doesn't rehabilitate the person
Is
that
it
is
moral?
being cancelled.
You
Is
know
it
what
moral?
I think, man?
I get
Is it a
You know
moral
what-
thing, though?
Like, you know what I think,
not
man?
a
I feel like the whole cancellation, like the whole cancel movement, man, its aim should be to cancel people that are trying to influence the mass society in a negative way. I feel that's what its aim should be. I don't know what it's doing, you know, I don't know what's driving what it's doing.
In
but
conjunction with rehabilitating.
in conjunction with rehabilitation, yeah. But it should be cancelling medias that are somewhat influencing the mass society in a negative way.
Cancelling
So
how? Because listen, here's what's cancelling now, and what I've seen. It's stripping people away of the bread that they have.
Yes.
Instead of teaching them, instead of showing them the way, instead of accepting accepting them in our society, it's creating rage inside them.
Yes.
That's what I'm against, me.
Yes, that's
I'm not
what I
against. I'm not against people who who want what's right. But I'm against the method that we are using to discipline those people.
That's why I
Like,
mentioned
in a
the
way
fact
of
that
destroying
they
them.
should be.
Yeah.
That's why I mentioned the.
You're literally
like
stripping
the
a
fact
whole
of
man
which
of
they
what
should
defines
be.
them.
They should be acting in a sense. I don't know what they're doing, because what they could be doing now is doing something completely stupid. They could be canceling people that are exposing the truth. You know, the truth that the society doesn't want to expose. You know what I'm saying? That's why I mentioned the fact of which, you know, they should be canceling shows that are actually putting out negative content out there, as opposed to shows that are putting out true content out there. True content that the mass of the society is not ready to deal with. But the fact of which is the truth, you know? That's what I feel, Uguti. That's where, you know, like the cancel movement is kind of lacking in a sense. You know, they need to verify which content should be really cancelled and which one should not be. Because it's easy for me to tell you the truth about yourself and you find it offensive and be like, nah, I'm going to cancel you because, you know, you find the truth.
So cancelling actually, let's say in a context of someone did something negative that we can outright see with its negative value. Yeah, one. What's cancelling them now? It's taking the bread away from their mouth, or is educating them? It's like excluding them from the society, or it's like, for instance, how we discipline children.
Here's my thing, bro. If you're making money by contributing negatively to society, then what good are you towards the society?
There's a lot of drug dealers out there. We're not cancelling them.
There's a lot of drug dealers out there, and what we are finding is that a lot of our brothers and sisters are doing really petty things for drugs. And so what I'm trying to say is that there is,
but they're not social.
They're
not selling drugs online.
They're not selling drugs.
That's why they're not getting cancelled online.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is that
publicly, okay.
There is,
but you know them. Each and every hood.
Yeah, exactly.
Every hood. How many people are in a hood? Like I don't know. There could be a mom, for instance.
Yeah, we can.
Imams in an extension.
You know which part they sell, which part.
We know, and we know I'm impacts of drugs on our society.
Yeah.
We're not cancelling drug dealers. We see cops going to drug dealers and collecting cash each and every Saturday, every Friday.
Corruption.
But we're not cancelling them.
That's the thing, Joe. There's a difference between
that's the problem I have with Mina in the cancel culture. We have standards.
Bro, I come back to me saying, Guti, this is what they should be doing. Remember, Guti, what you should be doing is not, it's not necessarily what you are doing. You know what I'm saying? So, what the government should be doing is that they should be putting more effort to cancelling drugs. They should be putting more effort.
We are the government. We are the government. Right now, we are the government. We are the people cancelling other people.
Yeah, but just for this, argument's sake, let's just say, Guti, the government knows, Guti, they should be putting more border patrols, you know, they should be putting more effort into stopping this whole thing. But they're not. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that a lot of organizations should be doing, but they're not doing. The cancel should be canceling really negative things, but instead, every person that gets their feelings hurt wants to go to the cancel, be like, cancel this, cancel that. No, that's really immature. Because at the end of the day, we have real issues that we need real solutions for. You know what I'm saying? If I say something that you are doing and you know that it's wrong, and I say it and you get your head barking and you get your feelings hurt, whose problem is that, my guy? Me or yours? And so you should be honest enough with yourself to tell yourself, Gucci, bro, you know what? I'm selling drugs. I know this shit. Excuse my language. I know these things affect the society and whatnot. And if I come to you and be like, bro, you fucking up these little kids, you should not catch feelings, because that is the truth. And that's what I feel Oguti cancel culture must also embrace. You know, embrace the fact, Oguti, there are certain truths that are not pretty. There are certain truths that will hurt your feelings. But we need to look into them.
But let's check if on the sheet. Because for me, check out whatever you guys have said while I was listening. So, in the media that is related or that is under government, or SABC and whatsoever, right? Then we have a YouTube channel like this one.
Sure.
Bongabo, Mekchi, and whatsoever. Other people are pushing podcasts.
Sure.
Right. So more checker Lawa we are under SAPC.
Sure.
What they do is that they ask questions, they give you a script to make sure they put you on top there. They make sure to those audience who are watching, you become a hero to them. Once you become a hero to them, they can use you when stakes are high. If they say like a COVID-19 right now, if they want you to vaccinate, they use these people to make sure hey, you should get vaccinated because these certain people that's vaccinated are your heroes, right? We're done with that. Then now they're using these people. That show is under government, so it's structured, right? Now we have ama YouTube channel ozowathola abafana nabo Mekchi when they invite these artists, those artists that are your heroes, now they're asking them raw questions.
Raw questions. Very good point that you put.
Serious question that we want to know.
Yes. And now you get to understand the real person.
Yeah.
And now ask yourself.
Now, so the real truth behind everything. Now it changed the perspective of a person.
Thank you.
In no longer
because each and every person kind of builds a whole different type of personality with this person. We okay, my personality of this person is this. Yeah, and then when they speak, it's different. Like, hey man, this is not what I.
So when as going to be showing them, man, the government milling get now. Cancel culture, which laws should we apply, right? Now at the end of the day, Venovas will cancel. Because now you're trying to ruin their heroes. And they have a lot of followings.
Actually, what you're mentioning is very powerful because now that I'm thinking about it, man, if you have, hey guys, sorry, but this is going to be messed up. If you have the SABC that's filtering information towards the society, and then you have YouTube that is not filtering, and then you have a lot of YouTube cancelled that has been cancelled, as opposed to this, what does that mean? I'm not saying anything, I'm not starting anything, but what does that mean, right? What does that mean about the information that you've been getting from the SABC and E-News or whatever podcast that is publicized? And opposed to what do you get from YouTube? And now, question is, which one do you believe? But now that's a question because now if you find the SABC that is being manipulated, if ever, I'm not saying that is fake, but if it's,
we know it is. Come on,
I think everyone knows it is. Propaganda, you get propaganda from the media, and most of that is from TV.
Why one? So then, if those people are being manipulated by, we would guess to be politicians or political parties or whatever the case may be, if they're being manipulated by those people, then how sure or how confident should we be in the content that they are showing? And now, bringing the whole cancel culture, they have this content that they're showing. We have private people that are putting out content, raw content, as he has said. And people that find it offensive for this content to be out there choose for this content to be cancelled. But then now, who is the regulator? What are the requirements that are put against any content that is said to be unfair? You know what I'm saying? Or is it just the fact which I feel like what this guy said on this show is messed up. So,
but don't they have what do they call it? BCCSA, Broadcasting Complaints. Commission of South Africa. BCCSA. That's what.
What are the requirements that they put against this whole thing?
It's just that's why I was asking. Like, do these laws actually take into effect social media's impact?
So if there was a law,
can't you say was it created before social media?
If there was a law that actually takes into consideration what happens on social media, what would that law be?
Actually, there is a law that
you don't say shit that's gonna trigger other people's feelings.
No, actually, there is a provision, a whole act that regulates the whole social media interaction. This act came after people's pictures were being exposed on social media and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not familiar with.
I forgot it was after someone's dick got exposed somewhere.
So there is regulations that are put in place to
I remember
regulate the interaction between individuals.
The popular one is graphic content.
Yeah, it's graphic content.
And it's obviously hate speech. But now, is it hate speech if ever it triggers someone else's feelings because they don't agree with whatever someone else is saying? Because I think most of what hustle culture is about is it triggers someone's feelings because someone is not sharing the same opinion, and then they get cancelled. They get triggered, and then they come back on cancelling that person. Well, we do understand on someone who's gonna be a pedophile and be after kids who are underage. We do understand that, and we don't encourage it at all. Like it's not cool. It's not cool. It's not cool.
According to society standards.
You know what I'm gonna say?
Well, according to society standards, because because what you are, a bathroom, is a totally different person. Kulo muntu oba uye mawuphumile out there and interact with other people, and we need to have a way to monitor human beings, because human beings can be nasty as fuck. So we need these society standards.
Because when you look at like even history, like going back to your pedophilia point, but like when you even look through history, having to look at something simple that everyone believes in, like Mary and Joseph. Joseph was old and Mary was like in his 16s or 15.
Let's not go there. Let's not go there. Let's not go there. Okay, guys, wait.
That's the whole pedophilia talk.
But now we're not talking about pedophilia here. We're talking about the societal lies.
That's what it is.
We're talking about the things that society has repeated enough.
Okay, but honestly, what I feel that society has repeated enough, and it was not even something that was uttered, is the fact that society does not deal with things head on.
Yeah,
that's my whole thing. This whole movement of not dealing with things head on really makes way for other things to come into play which are negative, right? So like, for argument's sake, this whole thing,
cancel culture?
No. Sugar daddies, right? Let me just start from the Benenge. Right? Let's just say, for argument's sake, during the late 80s and the early 90s, there were things called sugar daddies, right? Sugar daddies are these people that are older, far more successful, that occasionally shower young girls with money in return for whatever. Right?
That's true.
Sugar daddies, fast forward 2010, they are now called, what is it called? Blessers, right? Now,
nice connotation, eh?
the use of language is very important, because a sugar daddy and a blesser comes across differently, no matter how you put it. But what we are identifying, the object of which we are identifying, is still the same. So these things of not addressing issues, they end up becoming a problem that is accepted within society and rebranded. By rebranding something, you give it a new image. You make it far more acceptable. But now, does the problem of which was seen back then, is it still resolved, or does it know where a new code?
So that was my point.
If a sugar daddy is bad for the community, isn't the blesser the same thing?
Yeah, same thing.
You know what I'm saying?
So it's like they're trying to put a whole different word.
Language.
Language. This was once known as a sporty, now it's a bucket hat. What is the difference?
It's the same thing.
You know
it's rebranding the name around it.
Language.
And now you're trying to.
So a lot of, in my opinion, a lot of societal lies are based from what, as a society, we don't want to deal with upfront. We don't want to deal with petty issues like teenage pregnancy. We don't know what. A lot of people claim to not know what the root of that is, but it's simple.
Teenage pregnancy versus early age mom.
Versus early age mom.
And it's the same,
right?
But early age mom sounds.
No, here's the thing.
Sounds acceptable.
Like, there's a clear difference between these two guys, and this is something that is not even discussed about. An early age mom is a girl that is supposedly a mom at an early age that can financially afford it. We don't know how. Then teenage pregnancy is that girl in Alexander that is parents are domestic cleaners and whatnot. So these are two different things from different economic perspectives. So you would wonder, Oguti, like, what is pushing this whole, because
language.
It's the same thing.
Language. We've romanticized a lot of things that had a negative impact in our society back then, and now we've found new words to introduce them to make it more socially acceptable.
Yes.
Okay, that's a very great point.
It's similar to the whole thing, organic foods. Like, it's been there.
We just
decided
organic foods.
It's like, isn't it like there's organic food, which is the food that's like naturally cropped out or harvested, and then
without any pesticides.
So
and then it's processed now. If you put any
genetically modified.
Anyway.
So doesn't it come from that? They call it organic because it wasn't modified in a way.
I guess organic
That's how it
has,
is. I think
has
that's how
to
organic.
mean
That's
without
I think
any
that's what people accept
modification.
to.
Yeah.
You're saying. Like just how that is with like Vele.
I guess we just answered ourselves.
Yeah, we answered all. Yeah. So another thing I want us to talk about is like looking at where we come from. Like, I mean, our skin is a bit darker in complexion, and there's a lot of things that we've been told growing up. There's a lot of things that we couldn't question, and I think we're the generation who started with questions, Tina. We were told something, and we're like, why? We're the white generation.
My mom would
Mara,
slap me,
la manje like from 2000 going. Hey, about Westbourne. Hey, about white question. Hey, white question, dog.
Everything has a why, bro.
Hey, dog.
Everything has a
I mean, my nephew once asked me, "Guti, hey, malum, angithi umhlaba around ngithi sure. Oh, so if ever ngimela on top, angithi manje ngitshela ukuthi ngithandaze ngibheke lapha phezulu ukuthi uGod ulapha. Ngithi mina sure basitshele kanjalo. Oh,
and that's an important part.
Yeah,
that is a very important
I never questioned that word. Mina manje seka question ukuthi ngiyamtshela. Oh, manje ngithi si-round sihleli kumhlaba round. If kunomuntu la on top and then kunomunye umuntu bottom, naye ngithi pointer up, nami ngipointer up, so usho ukuthi sipointer opposite direction. Ngithi mina yeah.
He got
so
you with
manje
that one,
uGod ukuphi?
Hey, she's exactly there.
He's where you know
Everywhere. Basitshela ukuthi everywhere. Basitshela ukuthi everywhere.
I've always asked everyone, like, where is the earth positioned? Is it up or down? Because there's nothing we can put to say with the earth is below or is down. What we know is what we created to say with, okay, there's a north and there's a north and there's a south.
Yeah.
That's us.
But
we don't know if we are literally in the south or in the north.
In episode
Excuse
4.
my ignorance.
Yeah.
Sure. There's one thing you once said in episode 4. You said we are the generation that has to question or evaluate
And rectify. That's the word I use. Rectify.
Everything that is being said or been taught.
Yeah.
Right. So we have everything that has been gifted to us. Right. So ayikho into endlula lo ukuthi redefine that. If now, I think today saying mangivuka with this conversation ekanjalo because kunezinye izinto ezinye ngiyicabanga which I had a conversation nazo nomagogo yabona then let's end up sigcine bona sesingazazwani ngazo.
I get you.
But then it was one of the heated up and a conversation bengikhuluma naye because bengikhuluma ngezinye izinto I once believed in. I was once there. But now mangasayibuza manje I have question which she's not willing to answer. And they become personal to a point ukuthi kodwa lezi zinto lezi PC umuntu onguye today
because of
these
these
PC.
things. That's true.
And I can't take away from that. That's fact.
Yeah.
Right? Because ngiphilile today ngulomuntu onguye uphilile today ulomuntu onguye today uphilile lomuntu onguye uquestion izinto ezikhulisile because you just question it because whatever information onayo today I think asikhona ukuthi sikulahle lo lento le yinto ekufanele even abantu today ababukele le show into afanele bayazi ukuthi izinto ezikhulisile akusizinto ekumele ulahle. That's why even ngasho kwenye episode ngathi kunezinye izinto abakufundisa zona kini then uyahamba yakho umuzi wakho then mafika kumuzi wakho you need to create your own rules, right, or your own protocols and principles. But then at the end of the day protocol and principles on now they need to have foundation. The foundation ibuye ekhaya and that tells you ukuthi ekhaya la sikhulise khona kunezinye izinto ezi-right ayikuthi zonke izinto ziyaphela khona izinto ongakhona ukuthi uyithathe uyophila ngazo la wena kule generation uzokhona ukuphila ngazo and khona izinto ongakhona ukuyithatha today uyotshela umntana wakho akhona ukuthi aphile ngazo wena so feel right. But then at the end of the day masibuya la it needs us ukuthi sibe realistic to the generation esiphila kuyo and see evaluate whatever indlela esiphila ngayo what works what does not work. Right,
because everything changes with time.
So ilento le issue besibhekane nayo and especially when it comes to lezinto besikhuluma ngazo manje as ama lies, beliefs and beliefs. When it comes to beliefs we have cultural beliefs. right? We have community beliefs.
Yeah.
We have what is it? What should I say? Is it spiritual beliefs or what? Yeah, but we have those three beliefs that we have. So I'm a cultural belief la uzoba bakutshela kona ukuthi ungahlala eminyango uzovela ithumbe isibunyo.
Yes, leyo basikundi. Bazoshona kini.
Basikundi ngina ngithokhana lingazazi.
Awushayele ebusuku.
So la usikhuluma ngana ama cultural belief yangithola. Then uzothola bazokutshela ngawo ama community beliefs ukuthi maybe kumelanga nibamba no cherry imbancane ekhoneni. Because ngazi ngihlukana whatever lento bayishoyo then uyothola ama spiritual beliefs yabona lawa washoyo ukuthi uNkulunkulu phezulu mina mawuthandaza kusazi uzokwenzela yonke into
kumele uvala amehlo mawuthandaza kumele uhlanganise izandla mawuthandaza
izandla nje uguqe ngedolo and wenze sure ukuthi uNkulunkulu uyakuza ukhuluma ngakho ngabe ngitshela kunomuntu lapha and audible enough ukuthi sikhona ukuthi sonke simuzwe ngiyangithola so wonke lama beliefs lawo and lies esikhona ukuthi sitshele wona but then at the end of the day mase sikhulule singaka sidinga ukuthi siphinde siwabheke angitsho siwalahle you understand angithi siwalahle because at the end of the day silathina la sikhona today silabantu esikhona ukuthi sibe because of them.
It's not we laugh more but then more like analyzing
them ukuthi
abuya angithi back then basitshela ukuthi maswa questioner Masba questioner back then bebathi are we questioning this so now manje sesikhulile and manje sesidila ngale generation abantwana bethu besibuza ukuthi why nathi kwamele I mean even before your generation we do it for that generation ukuthi sikhona ukuba explain la bona kwamele nathi sibuye sithi mara why izinto zihamba ngale ndlela and ezinye izinto siya understand ukuthi they are beyond our own understanding on a physical realm. Yabona ezinye they are like spiritual. Yeah. Mara it doesn't have to ukuthi sizibuze and masizibuza it doesn't mean ukuthi we hating them or we are against them. It's just to understand. And then if ever they don't make sense to us and then we find ways where we'll make them make sense in a way that feels right for Tina, just like the previous generations that was introducing the lessons into because they made sense to them. So
it's something that because like it's something we think would like if you're able to think like this, it means with your parents at some point have to have thought this way. To say we take why this way? Why is it this way? Why do we have to move from A to B this way? No, but I believe
evidence that they did.
Here's the thing. I believe each and individual. If you are able, us as individuals, so we're able to think of that. You can't tell me your parent at some point in their life didn't think of that. So that shows with like Bona themselves, they decided to say no. It's society's. Similar to what SK was saying with like they picked the second but in the second line.
Yeah,
so they chose to say okay because it's how it is. That's how Mangalenje. So Tina, as the new generation, where we're able to be free thinkers, we're given that freedom to go outside our brains and whatever and everything like that. We're kind of able to be like, man, this doesn't make sense. Yeah. And then when you go to the adult and be like, 1, 2, 3. Why is it 1, 2, 3 in the first place? They're gonna say, you shouldn't be asking such questions in the first place.
You know, my mom used to get very pissed when I would ask her about certain things.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you mentioned now the case Yuguti, you know, now the experiment that SK spoke of. That just reflects to me the amount of times that the society just goes with what the masses says.
Yeah.
Sure. And I mean, I'm sure a lot of people will find this very insulting, but to be quite honest with you, you have to embrace the truth even if it's ugly. But a lot of people believe what social media offers them.
That's
right?
true, 100%.
And I'm not saying that what social media offers is always, is untrue.
Yeah.
But there are certain things that don't worry, they're fabricated. And if not fabricated, then they are perceived in the wrong way. You know? And for social media, which is one platform that has a very huge influence in terms of any society, it's very dangerous to have negative content flowing around social media like that. And with that content flowing around, the masses will go with it. You know what I'm saying? And honestly speaking, with the masses being misdirected, think about where the future of that society is gonna go. You know what I'm saying? Think about how the thinking capabilities of that society is gonna be. You know, are they gonna be critical thinkers? Are they gonna be subjective thinkers? Or are they gonna be people that accept everything that is being given to them? You know, we have stats everywhere that show crime rates and all of these things.
Yeah.
But are you sure, Gucci, those are factual?
How accurate are they?
How accurate are they? Do you know who conducted those stats? You know, and that's what I always tell myself. Gucci, you know what? I don't mind getting information from others, nah? But here's my thing. Nothing is factual up until I was there to see it happen.
That's true.
I don't care who you are. I don't care. Joe, I will accept what you're telling me. And if it makes sense, I will be like, okay, well, it makes logical sense that you would say this in this way. But I will not say that something is factual merely because you told me.
Yeah. It has to be something that I've seen.
Based off hearsay.
Yes. I'd rather be Thomas. Makola Kaubona.
I see something I would say with like Thomas, despite they trying to like dismiss him, but say like Thomas.
But he believed in.
But he believed in what he wanted to see. With like why 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. He wanted answers before having to come to conclusion.
Understanding more than anything else.
Exactly.
And
It's okay
it's
okay for yourself to question until you find the answers that will suit you. So like it's almost as if the society is trying to say whatever you have to answer is no. Tina, we've already built it. Yeah, whatever you have to believe in, cast it out, put it away.
But then now in the problem ite khona engiyayibona kakhulu ukuthi today sinovuka ekseni uthola umntwana ahlele eminyango awukhulumi. Khona abazali bangakhulumi bese adonsa ibhano or adonsa imvubu akuthela. Angithola. So uthiwa suyakhala sowushayiwe uthiwa ungahlali eminyango. So utshela sowushayiwe. Ushayiwe. Sekucediwe ngawe wena. Lapho sekhathi bakutshela ungazohlala eminyango.
Yeah, bakutshela ukuthi
but now into maye esifuna ukuyibheka yazi ngikhumbula ngelilanga ne ngihleli nentwana yami. So ngikhuluma naye. So mangikhuluma naye unoyenza into wrong bese ngithi no. Ngiqhubeke whatever I'm doing. Bese ngithi no. Now before ngizothi now ngifuna ukukushaya nento le ukuthi you understand what you did.
Qala.
More futhi ngiyakushaya because more uma ngizofela sengikushaya it feel like ngiyakushaya because I'm older than you. Because I'm your parent. You don't even understand. You understand. But I need you to understand why I'm doing this. You understand? Same as nasesgate. Let's get right to your figure about umsindo or part of the list abathi ababantu abangumsindo. Then they will say okay. Zwakala. Then uyashaya uthi bangumsindo. Then from there you understand next time I'm going to bang umsindo. So ilente kanjalo. So into eyenzakalayo today because now I'm parents just because umuntu feel ngathi yena wrong kuye then he wrong. Right? And then that understanding ukuthi hey lo muntu understand ukuthi lento ngimshayela ini. I'm sure if maybe somkhuze kaningi enza into one then that's where you understand ukuthi okay mangimshaya uyazi ukuthi ngimshayelani. But now uthola umuntu into just imagine ukuthi ngikhumbula mina ngisemncane lokuthola umhlala eminyango lento le ukuze ngikhona ukuthi ngayazi nginduku azange ngiyazi ngokutshelwa first thing ngithola ngayazi induku and le ngayazi ukuthi manje ngale ngayazi ukuthi lapho akumelanga ngihlale eminyango. But now if manje umtshothi if uyazi ngenduku mase bakushayile uzokhona ukuyiquestion.
It's actually crazy ngoba ntwana kaningi ntwana ngihlala eminyango and no one would say anything.
And the family
that's why I'm saying
we better ngakhona.
So then it boils down to what is the truth and what is a lie, or does it depend on what you choose?
What you choose to believe. I always think it's always all about the belief your wound.
Yeah.
I mean, if you believe something that it's gonna happen.
Sorry to interject, but what you believe will be passed down every other generation after you, from your offspring to their offspring to the next.
It could be a lie.
It could be a lie.
It could be a lie.
And it could be a truth.
Sure. But fact is, it's being passed on. That's the only fact.
Yeah, because you were told the same thing. He was told not to sit by the door. I was never told not to sit by the door.
But there's something else that you were told.
There was something else I was told that maybe he was not told. But those things are what we are saying. How is it then that one household can believe in this and the other not? And then we believe that this is true and the other is not.
And the household that believes it's true, it's the way. The one that says, hey, awuhlala emnyango, it actually impacts them. And the one who doesn't believe
it shapes them differently.
It shapes them differently. So that's what I'm saying, it's all in the head. It's all about what you believe.
Sure.
You know what? And just one other point, guys. We need to understand also the impact of which these things also have in our lives. From there on, going forward. If man was murdered for sitting at the door, there's a great possibility. I'm not saying you're gonna murder your kids for sitting at the door, no. But I'm saying, there's a great possibility that you might do that as well. And that sense of punishment, right? From the mother to the child or from the father to the child is in a form of punishment. But from the child, you don't know how he's perceiving it as. He could be perceiving it as a form of abuse. And we all know that abuse have, different lines. A kid can either choose to be an abuser or choose to be anti-abusive. Depending
I think that is punishment without understanding.
Without understanding.
Yes.
So with this punishment and reward thing that we have in our society, I feel like most of the time Sians are wrong. Most especially when it comes to punishment. When we punish people for doing wrong things. Same applies as Lento we see about the hustle culture. It's a punishment, but the punishment yakona is not directly linked to the actual action. For instance, if ever kunomntana, umntana uyahamba uyodlala out there, and then uyadlala, and then they come home late. When they get home late, the parent is gonna say, you're grounded. You can't watch TV for this week because when we're late. That punishment is not directly linked to the actual action yomntana. So umntana won't see any relevance in that. This is how we should do it. If umntana goes out to play late and then he comes back late and lean, we shouldn't beat that kid, because beating that kid is not a punishment that's linked to the actual action. What we should do is sit the kid down and say, hey, look, if you are outdoors late, you could be raped, you could be kidnapped. Like that is directly linked. Those consequences are linked to exactly the action.
Staying out late.
We are one. So if ever umntana manje,
but you're not speaking directly to the kid when you khuluma ngemvu. Every time.
Exactly. Manje umntana yena emqondweni wakhe i-consequence yokubuya late ukuthi angizoshayiwa, and then uzothola umntana ukuthi uyak-understand ukushayiwa manje sekakujwayele and uba addicted mara akayi-understand i-message.
Missing the whole
and
point.
It's the same thing with the hustle culture. Angifuna ukubuyela kule conversation ye-hustle culture because I might get cancelled.
No. You know what?
Mara, the punishment ye-hustle culture is not directly linked.
Hustle culture or cancel culture?
Fuck cancel culture. Cancel culture. Hey, bro. Hey. Cancel culture.
I think our viewers understand.
Yeah, ile conversation we spend now, like 2 conversations we spend now back to back about the hustle culture. So cancel culture, punishment yakona is not linked to the actual act. If ever, that's why I've been emphasizing in the it won't teach the person a lesson. It won't take away being homophobic. It won't take away being a pedophile. but we should sit down and make people understand what is izinto zenza kanjani. And yeah, sengidlulile cancel culture manje. Joe.
But you got points.
Mara le nto ngisho
It's
ukuthi if ever so
almost
teach
like
umntana
to
ukuthi
expect
angabuye ebusuku asibakhombisa the direct consequences.
Ukuthi
Yabona,
why?
not ukuthi uzobuya ebusuku angikufuni ukubuya ebusuku ngizokushaya, because manje it's linked to ama feelings we parent, and it poses the parent as the dictator. Ukuthi you are actually dictating how I move as a child. Not ukuthi there's any consequences that I understand. But umntana kumele understand is good. If ubuye ebusuku or after curfew, you're gonna get picked up by even yamaphoyisa, because it's after curfew. Kusebusuku. Or you could get kidnapped. Or uzohlangana nabantu abadakiwe, sihlala close to i-club la, sizohlala or i-tavern. Uzohlangana nabantu abadakiwe la, and those people can actually abuse you in a way. Ukuthi bazokushaya or bully you. Yeah, those are consequences that are directly linked to the action. Mina yinto engiyifunayo. And mind you, let's move on to
so hence having like where you correlate the cancel culture, having to say cancel culture doesn't find a way to say, okay, this
the
is what we need
punishment.
to fix.
I feel like the punishment is
They're
not
just
directly
cancelling
linked
each
to.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to like. When are they trying to just rid you of like your existence in a way? They're trying to rid of your existence.
Yeah.
But then obviously
if
it's impossible.
if ever we can make killing a person a right thing or a normal thing,
Yo,
I think a
people
cancel
would be
culture,
killed in
we
jail.
could do that. By cancelling someone, we could totally kill them.
mean, there's
Because
literally
now,
people
if
who
you
are-
can take away from it, cancel culture, what it is taking bread away from someone.
Yeah.
Bread that makes them alive and the people
Not only
around them
them,
alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So that's what it is, according to my own view, which leaves the person more resentful than educated on, more than them understanding why they shouldn't be inheriting these beliefs or thoughts.
And
Yeah.
as
Yeah, one.
people that are pushing the movement of cancel culture, you should really just go back to understanding why you started the movement in the first place. You understand? You need to understand Uguti. With cancelling shows, there should be procedures that go with cancelling shows. You know what I'm saying? You don't just go to a show and cancel it.
Immediately.
Go to the producer, whomever, speak to the person, get their views and see why they're actually doing this. If the person is not working with you with regards to solving this whole thing, then you may go ahead and go on with that thing. But there's a lot of creators that are being cancelled for reasons that are not even justifiable, which I feel that is what SK is actually trying to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't cancel a person simply because of public opinion. Public opinion can be wrong.
Thank you.
And the thing about what I can put out there is that we're not perfect.
We're not.
And we are messed up.
No
Yeah,
existing
no.
And
being is
rewiring
perfect.
here needs to be reshaped in a
impossible.
way. And the best thing that we can do for one another is educating one another. Besides just saying, okay, SK said this on the Empty Street podcast and he's wrong for saying that. Take me aside. Educate me on why am I wrong? Why are my opinions and views not in place with what's right for the society? So that I can understand that Noguti Manje, you're gonna take the job away from me. Because if you take away the job away from me, you're taking away. But there was someone who once said, Guti, if you're gonna take someone, if you're gonna stand in between someone. If you're gonna stand in between someone and his bread or her bread, the consequences of that might end bad.
True. Yeah,
Mind you, you can look
That's your everyday life.
It's funny you said that. It was a stand-up by Dave Chappelle.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh, yeah. That's exactly what I'm quoting. Yeah,
Which one?
it's exactly what I'm
Say
quoting.
something.
It's exactly what I'm
So it was
quoting.
based off his experiences.
30
with,
minutes.
Contracts.
Contracts, Comedy Central.
Yeah.
I'm sorry
And-
to derive from the conversation,
Netflix
but was
and-
this about when he and Comedy Central, Comedy Central was trying to filter his work and he was not about that, and then he
No,
fired
it was
No,
when it was
they
it
took
was
his
half was
work
when his
It was
work
half.
and used it and he didn't
Without
get
his consent.
compensated.
Yeah, and at the same time, the
Without his
content was
consent.
moving to
Yeah,
Netflix.
because I remember with the Chappelle show, there was a little bit of controversy with
Yeah.
regards to
Yeah.
the network.
That's exactly what I was watching.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
and I
what
saw that-
that's what I'm
I think
referencing.
it was last night, if I'm not. That's why I can
For me, I think it's
Cancel
like
the
4
guy,
nights
right?
back. I think it's
That's
3-4
why
nights
it's still
back.
fresh.
Yeah, I
They
watched
wanted
it
to
3.
cancel the guy, right?
Yeah, that one was
Because
for the
they were
kids,
saying that his
so-
things were too they were too racist or whatever.
that was not
like
that-
I remember seeing an interview of him, and I don't know who was interviewing him
Yeah.
after he had came back, because apparently the guy had fled to here,
Yeah.
Cape Town or something, and then he went back home. You know,
Oh,
I was
Oprah.
watching the
That was
whole season
Oprah.
1.
Oprah
It was
interview.
season 1 of the Chappelle show, season 2, and then when season 3 had to come, that's when the nonsense began. You know what I'm saying?
So basically, with this, he was telling a story, right?
Yeah.
About an experience he had when I think he had a girlfriend was coming over and all he had was $60.
$60, yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
And
$60, yeah.
So what he chose to do is, you know, those guys that play with cars.
Oh
like,
Yeah.
like, pick the card.
3-card Monte.
Yeah, so pick the card. So what happened is he kept spotting how the card looked.
Yeah.
He saw
It
that
had
it
a
was
crimp.
bent. Yeah, it was bent.
Yeah.
And then like, nah, okay, now I'm ready. I'm gonna put my whole money on this. You know? So he put his whole money on that, and he's like, okay, the guy does his magic, and he's like, nah, it's this card. And then when they flip it, it's not the card he was expecting.
Shit.
He's like, nah, fuck, how?
$60 gone.
$60 gone.
And the $60 was a plan
Yeah,
to accommodate the chick.
Yeah.
Accommodate the
So now
chick
he's
that's
broke.
coming over.
So now he's sitting, trying to see what his mistake was. He looks, someone else comes. Like, so let's say you now want to join in, right? Just before you join in, I'm Dave, and I'm like, yo, don't do that. This nigga's a crook. So that means he's probably
Yeah, in the between
yeah,
the brain.
he's
That guy's
yeah,
brain.
he's the joker, right? He's the one making the tricks and all of that. And then he calls him aside, and the guy was furious. And then he pulled him aside, but at some point he just had a soft heart and just spoke to him like, yo, never come between a man and his bread. Never.
Yeah.
That's
never.
what defines
Yeah,
a
I
man.
should have told that story, but I just didn't recall Uguti
Regardless of
where
what
I
you
got
said.
that. But I got the lesson.
Yeah.
I got the
Lesson
lesson,
was
Uguti. You never stand in between someone and his brain.
Yeah.
You're
Shit's
building a
gonna
whole
get
different way
messed
with that
up.
thing, yeah.
So it's
A
the same
whole
thing
different
with the
way.
hustle culture. We're just creating people who are going to, it's more rage.
But at
It's
the
more
same
people
time-
who are gonna be more hateful.
But
It's
at the
more
same
people
time-
who are not left educated and understanding why they are wrong and how they could fix their
Their
thoughts
thoughts,
or
you know,
their
that's
views
That's why I
on
was saying rehabilitate them.
Yeah.
That's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if you wanna cancel someone, at least teach them. Like,
But now we're just canceling. Reality
look,
now is that
you
we're
mentioned
just canceling.
something that I wanted to actually break down. You spoke about if we then accept a person being a murderer, what do you do to a murderer? You serve a sentence, right?
Kill them. Yeah.
You serve a sentence.
Yeah.
No longer, because we don't have the death
Oh,
sentence
we don't
anymore.
we don't longer
We don't have
that.
that anymore. So
But
now
I-
you serve time.
But I also agree with what you said.
Yeah,
that
you
it's-
return the bill. You return it.
Kill them.
right?
But if
But now I'm
ever
talking
you
about
kill-
if like law was actually
Legally, right?
yeah,
okay.
legally you serve a sentence
Yeah.
and then you come out.
Yeah.
Right? Because the sentence I said.
you come out.
So what happens? What is that period supposed to be?
Expected manje
What
ukuthi
is it
mawuphuma.
supposed to be?
Yeah.
Before.
A
It's supposed to
rehabilitation.
rehabilitate
Yeah.
you, right? And bring you back
That's
into
why
society.
manje they call them correctional
Yeah,
services.
it's supposed to
They
correct
correct your
acts.
behaviors.
Yeah, it's supposed to correct your acts.
Yeah.
So why then we don't adopt the same principles
When
we
it comes
have
to
in correctional
cancel
services
culture.
and penitentiaries and all of that, and bring it into the cancel culture and rehabilitate these people? Because
Yeah,
now
wanna
if
manje,
you're
it's
shutting
a
them
new
out,
thing. Lento hustle culture.
Cancel culture.
Cancel culture.
Hey, you're tarnishing hustle
fine,
culture.
yeah.
Bad.
Oh,
No.
Ain't not. No, ukuthi Joe. Cancel
no
culture.
pun
Cancel,
intended for
cancel,
the
cancel.
hustle culture.
Cancel,
Like,
cancel,
no pun
cancel,
intended
cancel,
for real,
cancel,
man.
cancel, cancel,
Yeah, cut the
cancel.
cancel in.
Cancel. That now, I think is cancel culture is still a new thing,
But
and I feel like
is it
at the
still
long
new
run, Yeah?
Is it still new?
When did it
I
start?
wouldn't say it's new.
Is it
It's
regulated?
been- It's just that now it's.
I think it starts
magnified.
around, it's 2000s.
Yeah, it's been a thing.
3 years,
It's the
4 5 years?
2000s, and
Would
we're
you say
still
it's more
in the
than 5?
2000s.
Dude, it's been. It's not even like something that's like new.
Maybe
Is it more than 5
early
years?
2000s?
I mean, back then people used
Early
to.
2000s.
Late.
But there was no social media then.
Early 2000s there was.
Social media in 2000.
Started
2000.
in early
Y2K.
2000s.
Yeah.
Wasn't there really?
internet?
Oh, there was the
Just the
internet
internet.
only. Or
There was no
only.
social
Okay,
media
okay,
platform.
okay.
When did YouTube start?
Okay,
2004?
More or less.
Yeah.
But what came
And
before
people
YouTube?
did it. Okay. No, it started
was
after
Yahoo.
2010.
It was Yahoo,
It was search
yeah.
engines.
Yeah, it started
before.
after 2010.
Yeah, it was search
you're right.
engines before
You're right.
YouTube.
This cancel culture, I think it started 5 years.
That's why I'm
No, it's
asking.
recent.
It's more than 5
It's a
years.
recent thing.
No,
That's what
so
I'm
I
saying.
believe,
Culture
I
is-
believe,
Yeah,
So
the term,
people
but
have
what it
been
is-
cancelled for
Yeah.
long and they
Mara, I
'Cause you
believe,
remember,
Guti.
I don't know if you've ever watched the one of the documentary. I forgot the documentary where like it speaks about the history of South Africa and something. They do speak about it, like there was times when like if you were someone who steals or something, they would like discard you from like the whole tribe. Like backlash, okay,
Oh, but
no,
Mpimpi.
hambo shall we want
Mara, it's the exact same purpose.
Isn't
Yeah,
that being exiled?
prison. Uguti, prison is supposed to isolate you because I think one thing we said gule episode le besikhuluma ngayo about modern relationship versus traditional. Uguti, being social is important to us. It's one of the primary needs. So a prison serves as that. It takes you away from your primary need of being surrounded with people, of being social, of being surrounded with support structures. So in a way, they punish you in that way while they are correcting your behavior. So I feel like since this cancel culture thing is still new, I feel like in the long run, this conversation, hopefully it will reach a lot of people and a lot of people can learn from it. A lot of people can share their views with us and all of that. But I feel like once we reach that point of saying Wuti, we understand what it is, we understand which route we should take, we'll come about with new ways, Wuti. Okay, we're no longer just saying Wuti, OSK said this and now career yake over, family yake over, and everything yake over. Simtrita as ufile vele, mara we will have all ways as well ukuthi sikhona ukumteach ukuthi akhona ukunderstand about these new things that we've introduced to society yethu, because I feel like most of the people that are getting cancelled, it's things that are like newly introduced in our society. For instance, if you can go to being a pedophile, back then it was something that was accepted.
Yeah, it was norm. Like
it was a norm, but now we saw with we got to redefine it with no, you can't be with a girl this age because now they can make sound decisions for themselves, and it seems like you're controlling them in a way. So at least be with people at this age and upward. That's where it came from. And then same with being homophobic. Now we have all these genders. We have all these genders now, and now we are in a space where we have to understand and accommodate these genders. But now it's hard for us to do that because the only thing we were taught is we have a male and we have a female. So it's like we are transitioning, and now we need the education. We need to correct this mindset that we have. Oh, there's only two genders, male and female. Oh, and now there's more. And now who teaches us that? Just because people are saying this now, we have to accept it. We have to accept it. Without question. And when you question that, now you're homophobic. You're gonna get cancelled if you share your opinions on that. So I feel like at some point we're gonna reach a level where we have to be taught as a Zinto. We will have correctional services that are gonna teach us about lesbianism. But I feel like we've like stemmed a lot with hustle culture and all of that. So I feel like Nanje, Cancel culture. Did
Yeah,
I say cancel culture?
You said hustle culture.
It's a hustle.
I said culture.
Word of the day, hustle culture. Word of the day, hustle culture.
The hustle
So mara manje kufuna move into kufuna manje like move into education. There's another lie that we've been told several times. Which education is the key to success. And we had an episode 5, about when we broke the educational system down. So I want us to just touch base on that one, just share what we think on education is the key to success. I mean, and I think this morning or last night, I don't remember when, but I was looking at a post. I want to graduate and it in last month.
Not this month.
Last week.
This week.
Actually.
What month is it, man? Hey. What month is it now? Yo, Lamachita, understand ukuthi we record in advance. This episode will be released in May.
Okay.
Yo, Lamachita, Lamachita. Manje kumele ngisho iqiniso. This episode will be released in May. It was recorded in April. That's why I'm saying last month.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying last month. I'm not crazy. I'm not. Yeah, it's not bonkers. Keep up, guys. Yo, Lamachita. Yo.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, yeah, izolo. Abantu graduate this week. Vele sibuya kuye abantu graduate, and ngibona caption of a group. Not the caption. Ngibona a group of people who are just dancing, throwing their hats. I'm like, this is beautiful, of course. And then ngibona caption that says with black excellence. I'm like, no. Graduating is not black excellence. It's not black excellence because it's not solving anything. Yeah, education, we were not allowed to have it back then. Mara, it's not excellence now because all that group, more than 50% of that group, 70, 80, 90% of that group who were celebrating our graduation,
They get employed.
they're gonna stay home without jobs. So it's not excellence. It's not excellence. Mara, we have to celebrate Gucci. Yeah, we did have an opportunity to be at school as the Black Nation because it was in our thing and all of that, but it's not excellence now.
But now, this is what I always say when it comes to education. They say when you reach 21, they give you a key, right? They say the key.
They give you what?
A key.
A key, okay.
Yeah, the key for you to do whatever you want.
We still give up on keys.
I don't know.
I'm a virgins.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Let's care. I'm a virgin. Mind you, by 21,
But don't imagine the age of 18 they have that key. Right? But then at the end they say education is a key. But I would always say, I had even a recent conversation when it comes to that. I would always say, education is the key. I still say that. Education is the key. I still say that. But education is not the main key.
Key to what?
Education
is the key to what?
The main. Education is part of the key. Because now, when they say education is the key, they're saying that because it has worked for other people.
Yeah, that's true.
It's part of the system. Because in order for it to be a system, it must show results. Yeah. So that's why I'm saying with education is the key. Because I want to spend it today and even the next year. Never see it. And the way was graduating in 2018, 2019. Graduate in 2023. Job.
Sure.
And then tells you that education is the key. But then
it's not the only key.
It's not the only key. It's part of the keys.
My problem is where we try to word it and say the key. It's not the key, it's a key. Like it's amongst many alternatives to move. Because there is definite to say it is the one and only way. And it's not.
No, it's part of
so
the
I'm
key.
saying like education per se, yes, you can say it is the key. But then I'm saying like if we're going to say like because now Tinabandu we associate education with school. like it's supposed to be synonymous, supposed to be one thing. It's not how it is.
Yeah.
You don't really need school to have education. You can
Formal
separate the
education.
two.
Formal education and informal
Thank
education.
you. So it's up to you how you have to go about from A to B. When as moon, like how do you decide to go from A to B? That's education yourself. With how you educate yourself to move from A to B and whatnot. That's how I see to say it. Like if you're going to say education, yeah, fine. You can say it's the key. But then if you're going to put school into it, like trying to surround the scholar around education, that's where the big problem rises. When now it seems as if one high school you will never be nothing. So
Just to add on to that,
whatever.
It's
It's like when someone once said like there's no such thing as too late. There's never. You can be 30. If you want to educate yourself to a certain extent, you can get that.
just to add on to that, bro. Like, just to add on to that, education is one of the keys to success. But with it being one of the keys to success, how much of a guarantee does it guarantee your success?
Yeah.
In a sense, because there's this education that we have, right? Academic education. Let me put it in that way.
Yeah, perfect.
Academic education is perceived to be the mainstream education, right? And with it being the mainstream education, you find that some other people aren't really compatible with academic education, right? And then with those people, what is their key to success? You know, that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying now supports your statement of education being one of the keys to success as opposed to the key to success. And then you would, I don't know, there's this stigma that a lot of company owners don't have matric. I don't know what truth there is to that, but there has to be some
College
truth to that.
dropouts.
But I've
there has to be some
what people say, speak of
There has
say
to
like
be some
there's
truth
people
to
who
that.
never even like
Education though.
went
Yeah,
to-
with the
Now we can talk about the hustle culture. Now we can talk about
formal education. There's formal education, things that you learn in the classroom, which are based of a certain system that's supposed to achieve certain goals and benefit certain people, which is not all of us or majority of us. And then there's informal education, which now us people who are in the hustle culture are participating in the informal education.
Yes, the selling and reselling of things.
So Uchimron, what he says is formal education will earn you a living. Informal education will earn you a lifestyle. I mean, I don't think I got that quote right.
If you get it,
I didn't get that quote right. Those are not his words, but I think I'm paraphrasing from what he said.
it still makes very good sense. It makes very good sense. Yeah.
Can we close the education topic on that? Let's close
You
it.
can end it like that.
It's simple
Now
as
let's go to another lie that our society has been telling us, that has been repeated each and every single time, that each and every one of us should get married, and marriage is the only way.
It's the key.
And
success.
what I can say is, and what I can say is this. What I can say is this. Okay, let's say each and every one of us is supposed to get married, right? The family court is benefiting from divorces. Like the divorce is considered a $5 billion, not rent, dollar industry.
Industry.
It's
an industry.
It's an industry. Divorce is an industry. Yet we are told that we all should get married, and you feel it inside you, Guti. At some point, you will settle, ushade, and yeah. Yeah.
I said I'm open, but then at the same time I'm not open. I'm in between. That's what I say. Like I need a reason to get married in the first place. I need a valid reason to understand. Okay, I'm gonna get married because of this one.
It shouldn't be because of what
there was
people
this
are
other
saying.
old person once told me like, never get married because you love someone. That is a big issue. Like never marry someone.
See, marriage is not about you.
Yeah,
it's a contract. First of all, it's a contract, and it's an unconscionable contract. Yeah, which means it's a bit of one-sided. It incentivizes the other person if it fails. Yeah, but it's a contract end of the day. And with each and every contract, it's bound to end. It works out for other people, and nature comes and sweeps the other person away with death.
That has to be the most matured explanation of marriage that I had to come up with. I swear.
It works.
But then now, Twana, this crew, I think before episode, I don't know which episode this was. Marriage is not an investment.
Yeah.
I said,
you did.
According to me, I said marriage is not an investment. Then when you said it depends how you look at it. So I need.
How do you look at it?
Yeah, I want to understand that. If you're saying it depends how you look at it.
It's an emotional investment.
It's an emotional investment.
Me, I look at it in the time spent with the person.
Sure.
Yeah.
That time is an investment.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because if
That's
you
true.
chose to go to someone else, then you've lost that investment. Now you have to start over. It's like you putting money into a stock, and then you lose that stock. You want to buy out and then try a different stock, right?
Sure.
So it's no different. That time spent with that person is an investment. Whatever it might yield, whether it is yielding a marriage or it yields just you guys just being shit.
Is that investment selfish in a way?
Just another disclaimer, ladies, you are not stock, because some of y'all might catch feelings. Please, you are not stock.
And I was told in this other episode, in this podcast, it's like we objectify women a lot.
No.
I don't want that. I
you-
don't want
you
that.
are not stock.
I don't want
Let
us
me
to
know.
compare.
But now another thing
Mara,
is that
here's
this
the
is our
thing.
platform.
Here's
again.
the- yeah.
You know, we can't like shave and shape our platform to suit everyone. It won't sit with everyone at the end of the day. You understand? Sometimes we might value. Sometimes we might not agree with everyone, and sometimes everyone will be like, okay,
and sometimes if ever Smeg is into right or Smeg is into in a very pure way, that's gonna please everyone. And then the conversation doesn't start because
you don't
now
spark a
it sits
conversation.
well. But now
That's when you don't
if ever Smeg is into in a very controversial way or something that's gonna spark someone's emotions,
like
and
what
then
he
that's
just
when
did
we
now.
start involving.
You see, he just put me on the spot. He made me engage.
Mara,
didn't want to.
Mara, look,
put the question
what
out
Jordan
there.
Peterson says is that marriage is not for you. Marriage is not romantic at all, as we romanticize it. We
Romanticize
it. Yeah, it's not for you.
Yeah.
Latinas decide on according to what I feel. Marriage is for kids. It's for kids to grow up in a very stable household. Which I'm still arguing with it because you can still raise kids if you decide to be together without signing any contract.
Yeah.
But
Without having the marriage status.
yes,
Right
the
there,
marriage
it goes
status.
down to the whole societal lie.
Hollywood. You guys were saying we're talking something about
To verify,
TV
you
and
need this to
broadcasting and
verify
all
which
of
very
that.
well you're married. What type of sincerity
Now
is
we're
that?
going to marriage because of what we've learned on TV. Oh, it looks cute.
Oh, it's cute,
Oh,
man.
it looks nice.
You know what I've just.
Oh,
You know what I've
I want that to be my end goal. Yeah,
That's
what-
romantic.
Yeah.
That's their objective.
You know what I've
That's their
just
own
realized
thing.
about this whole conversation, eh?
Yeah.
These societal lies that we're speaking of, they make up our norms. They make up our norms.
Programming.
And our norms is what we live by. So if you and me are gonna fool each other and be like, Joe, beating girls is the only
thing.
way to get them under control. My guy,
can't
best
be a
believe
thing.
that our society is gonna go to a
Believe
point
that.
where beating women is the thing. But what's happening now with the amount of cases that we have against GBV or that are GBV related or whatnot? This is the result of the late 70s, mid 80s, late 90s. This is the
They
result
saw
of what
that
was
from
happening
their parents.
there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And ladies
we
and
cannot-
gentlemen, this is how we redefine what works for us.
Yes.
This generation.
Yes.
And in
Each
that, in that,
Precise.
gents, I just want to say, Yuguti, we should be concluding this conversation right now.
Oh yeah.
It's an everlasting conversation.
Yeah.
And this conversation, it doesn't end here.
Yeah.
No.
We
I
can
want
have
you
it
to
on the
expand
YouTube
on the
channel.
streets. I want it to go to Versace. I want it to go to Church Street. I want it to go to Nceba Street. I want it to go everywhere.
Nationally.
Every university.
I want you guys.
Gauteng.
I want you guys to have this conversation, to continue this conversation, and please, we'd like to be engaged because we are the one who started it, and maybe we're not the one who started it. But if you got it from us, if you continuing is from us, and then
Basically,
please engage us so that we can continue with you guys.
Don't you think we need to post some questions just so that they can leave some comments on there with their opinions?
Leave the questions.
First of all, do you think Guti, the cancel culture is doing a superb job? First and foremost.
Moral.
Do you feel that the cancel culture is doing exactly what it should be doing, or it should reflect more on what it should be doing? True. Language is a very tricky thing, so get what I'm trying to say, you know? And secondly, do you feel that our society is moving towards a more self-destructive society based on the lies that we are accepting as a society, or not? You know, it could be something that you're experiencing, it could be something that a friend is experiencing, but just share your opinion,
Shaun,
your opinions and your comments.
Oh, did I have a question?
You raised your hand.
All was about to ask me, like, do you also feel with like marriage only needs love for you to even be in in the first place? It doesn't really, because I feel like love is a feeling, and feelings are fickle. So anytime they can just
Feelings are temporary.
It's temporary.
Do you have a girlfriend, man? What's your girlfriend thinking when she's watching this show? Anyway, I ain't saying nothing.
So what marriage is it? Like the correct question that you should be asking is, what is marriage made for? Is it made to pamper your love, or is it made as a structure for your family, meaning your kids, or is it just a business? Is it a system that's
a very good
backed
question.
by a business?
That's a very good question.
Do you have any question that you could ask them?
Nah, I don't have any questions.
Do you have a question?
My question, man, is based on a lot of things. So, because I in this morning I wake up with this question. But if one guy he says he want to get married, then you have three options. Let's say you want to get married to Nceba's sister, then they say we want you to pay 50K. Then you be like, no, my uncle, just go to another one. They want to pay one. Check out that price. If you want to buy something, if I want to buy this thousand, they say it in 150. Then I want to go and compare in that other shop.
Yeah, for instance, if you humble it down and you told a packet head le, you told 70, and then we are about to die 70, and then we are the Marabastad, we told it 50, we are about to go die bang ropala. We are choosing small street, you told 30 or 20, we are about to die.
Like that. When marriage is like, when like come on over is like that, you can tell it like now it's no longer a thing about like a gathering of families. It's more of a business, man.
That's what I'm trying to
it's
say.
About buying.
It's
about buying.
Not to extend this conversation, but
we're having another conversation.
No, wait. Okay.
I think I have a question.
Perfect.
Mine is like, it revolves around superstitions. And how far do we take it in terms of like, what do you like? How do we know that this is gonna happen if you do certain things as far as superstitions are concerned? You know. So my question is, are superstitions truth or lies, or does it depend on what you believe in?
Okay. My question to close. You already had your question. You had your question. You chose your question. My question in closing is,
So many questions.
are you just living your life based on what you've been told, or are you living your life based on how you are as a person, which means, are you able to question the things that are put in front of you? Are you living your own life? Are you like, you've been put in this earth not to just take everything that you've been told and believe what you've been told and follow the trail that's already been there? What are you doing to create your own path? That's my question. And as we always say, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and take care of your pockets. This is the Empty Street Podcast, and we're signing out.